I said, listen, I'm going to do is, not only are you going into the battle, but you're going to go in with some instructions. Everybody say obedience. You got to follow the instructions. If you don't follow the instructions, this is what I'm talking about, obedience. The enemy comes to distract us, to get us out of alignment with the assignment by doing what? Getting us not to follow the instructions. If I can get you not, there was a man in the book of Luke, when Jesus spat on the ground, made clay, and he put it on his eyes and he told him to go wash. He gave him instructions. Now what if he would have cut corners and said, listen, I'm going to take this off my eyes now, and then when I get there, I'll wash? He wouldn't have been seeing. The only reason his eyes was open was because he followed instructions. And so sometimes when we're entering into a new season, not sometimes, but when we're entering into a new season, God is going to tell you, listen, this time, not last time. Last time you didn't follow instructions. So I had to uproot you. I had to put you in a place that was conducive for what you needed to do the next season of your life. This time, follow the instructions. And that's all some of us need up in here. Sometimes we may think, oh, we may need God to touch this and move in this. And now God is saying, listen, I just need you to do what I said do this time. You ain't always been doing what God told you to do. I know that's me. I ain't always did what God told me to do. You know, and even now sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you have to prep yourself. You really have to go into prayer like, Lord, please, you know, let this cup pass from me. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus, let it pass from me. You know, but I have to follow the instructions if I want the reward. We want to be rewarded, but we don't want to do what it takes to get the reward. We just want God to just hand it to us. My friend tagged me in a video on Facebook, and it was a baby. And the mother took the cell phone from the baby. The baby looked like she was maybe 6 or 7 months. She started screaming and hollering, turned herself on this side, kicking her legs, her arms going everywhere. She did that for a good little minute before her mother gave her the cell phone back. As soon as she gave her that cell phone back, she stopped crying. I put down there, now you know she would have been crying. She would have been crying. Because you got to train them up in a way that they should go. If I told you can't have something this day, you can't have it. You can't have it. You just can't think that everything is about, here, just take it, I'm going to give you what you want. No, there's some things you got to work for. And there's some things you're going to have to work to keep. God wants to know that you love him. He knows how you feel about him already because God looks at the heart. We the ones looking at the outward appearance. God knows our heart. God knows what we can take. He knows what we can't take. He knows the capacity in which we can carry it. So God already knows. And so on this, let me go back. You shall march around the city. All you men of war, you shall go all around the city once. Then you shall do 6 days, and 7 priests shall bear 7 trumpets of ram horns before the ark. But the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow the trumpet. It shall come to pass when they make a long blast with the ram horns, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, that all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up every man straight before him. So in order for them to cross over, in order for this wall to come down, they had to follow the instructions all the way down to the T. They couldn't cut corners in anything. They couldn't cut corners. I don't care what we were facing. We can't cut corners. That's just like going to a place and feeling like, I'm about to steal something. Nobody gonna know because you're trying to cut corners, a little bit. Like a little level to hold up, or just a little lie. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to cut corners somewhere. I'm going to take it upon myself to go ahead on and add 2 or 3 extra kids on my taxes. I'm going to cut corners somewhere. And when I put them 2 or 3 extra kids on my taxes, as soon as it comes, I'm going to pay my tithes off of it. But you didn't cut corners. You didn't cut corners and still say, God gonna bless, God gonna move. But he said, I need you to follow the instructions all the way down to the T if you want to enter into this next phase in your life. Some of us are being held up because we have yet to follow the instructions the way God has given us them to follow. We have been held up. We have been delayed. Some of us have experienced some form of setback in our lives because we haven't been following the instructions. And so we have to follow the instructions and stand on what God told us to stand on. Then Joshua, the son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, take up the ark of the covenant and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said to the people, proceed and march around the city, and let him who is armed advance before the ark of the Lord. So it was when Joshua had spoken to the people that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram horns before the Lord advanced and blew the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed. And the armed men went before the priests who blew the trumpet, and the rear guard came after the ark while the priests continued blowing the trumpet. Then Joshua had commanded the people, saying, you shall not shout or make any noise with your voice, nor shall a word proceed out of your mouth until the day I say to you, shout. Then you shall shout. Now, I wanted to stop right there simply because as I was reading this, the Lord began to tell me that this is what some of our problem is. We talk too much. This is what he said to me. I remember a time when he first told me that I talk too much, and he had a leader at the time put tape over my mouth. I'm always running my mouth. I always got something to say. I always got something to say. I always got to question authority. I always got to say this and that. I can't never be quiet. And he began to take me in scripture. And he took me to Zacharias and he said, listen, remember when Elizabeth was pregnant? The Bible said when the angel Gabriel came and she got pregnant, what happened? They had to do what? They had to shut up Zacharias' mouth. And he could not speak until what? Until after John the Baptist came forward. And the Lord said to me he couldn't speak because the first time when we appeared to him, he doubted. Sometimes life and death is in the power of the tongue. I don't need you speaking against the assignment. I don't need you speaking against the mandate. I don't need you speaking against this new place I'm trying to take you to. Last time the children of Israel put their mouth on it. Last time they came out and they said what they couldn't do. They was defeated in their speech. But this time, I want you to follow the instructions and I want you to be quiet. I don't want you to say nothing until I tell you to speak. Because if you open up your mouth and say something, you're going to say the wrong thing and it's going to cost you. It's not time for you to speak yet. I know, like Brianna sitting here doing a little feet like, man, I'm telling y'all, when I was going through my process of training, there were many times that foot was just like this. The fingers was just like this. Because I wanted to cut up and say something, but I couldn't. I had to be obedient to God if I wanted to see the outcome, if I wanted to reach the results, which was my growth and development. Sometimes that's what hold us up from growing. The fact that we keep questioning and want to say, well, why we got to do this? Why we got to do that? Well, here, prophet, I want you to go take this here. Well, why I got to take that up there? Well, why I got to go up there? Why I can't go like this? Why I can't go like that? Be quiet. Sometimes God just wants us to get up and act and do and say, you know what, God? I ain't going to question where you taking me. I'm just going to follow. I'm just going to follow. How many times did we see the disciples questioning Jesus every time he gave them instructions? They followed. And that is what God is looking for out of all of us, out of all of the people that he called in the kingdom of God, and everybody. He wants us to follow him. This is what Paul said. He said, listen, follow me as I follow Christ. I need some followers. That's what it means to follow. Whenever you're going through a season where God is saying, I need you to be quiet, it's because he's trying to place another level of submission upon you. I want you to just submit. Submit to what I'm doing in your life. Submit to me breaking off some of the pride that you've been harboring in your heart. Submit to me breaking off some of all of the unforgiveness. Submit to that. Let me do it. Let me do it. Sometimes when we open up our mouth, God put us in situations in the heat of the moment for somebody to say something, tick us off so that we can see what our response is going to be. And whatever our response is, that will let us know where we're at in God. If it's going to be carnal, if it's going to be flesh, or is it going to be spiritual? I'm telling y'all, I'm speaking from experience. There were times when my daughter's school, if something wasn't right, I ain't had no problem telling them, listen, because I'll tear this whole place up. Ted, I've been saved, but I ain't been saved all my life. Don't play with my child. I'll tear this whole place up. So God, that's your response. Anytime you get into a heat of the battle, that's your response. So then I changed it. I said, you right, God. I ain't going to tell them what I'm going to do. So next time somebody say something, I'll tell them, listen, because my family ain't saved. You know what I'm saying? I ain't telling them I'm going to tear it up. I just let them know my family ain't saved. God said, that's what I want. I'm coming for that. I'm coming for that. First, I got to change you. I got to stop your response. I got to stop you from thinking you going to tear something up. Now I want to come from you for your ideology that your family ain't saved. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I ain't talking about something that happened years ago and me being delivered from. This was just my affirmation. Last year. Wasn't that last year? Last year, the affirmation. I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm walking down there like, shoot, man, I'm telling you. Don't nobody want to say nothing. Because my brother up in here too. My whole family here. Don't even come up in here thinking you about to do something. Because they ain't saved. They not saved. And I ain't going to be able to stop them. It's just me, one person. I said, Lord Jesus, after the affirmation, I had to go on the 30, 40-day fast. Get this up out of me, God. Get it up out of me. So, Jericho, I don't want to lose where I was at. Okay, we went to Joshua. Joshua had to do this, and he also had to do what Moses had to do. Same scenario. Send spies. I want you to send somebody to spy out the land. So what does this tell us? If we go through scriptures, we'll see a lot of the time that God sent the children of Israel, before he sent them into a place, they had to spy it out. Spiritual mapping. They had to go into the area to see what was in the area. As I go and I pray, God is going to download more to me concerning why I'm being sent this. This is why I say it is important for us to understand our assignment, especially before we connect to a place. Before we go to a place. A lot of times we go to all these different ministries, but we still don't know what that assignment is. But when you know what your assignment is, when you get there, God can give you more of why you're being sent there. He can give you more of why you're being sent to that place. There are some people that may need what you got. There are people that are assigned to me. I tell people that when it comes to business also. You know, a lot of times people be scared to share their business secrets. You know, so, girl, now everything you know about how your success became, how you became successful is a secret. But I like to think that God has assigned people to come to me. So it don't matter if I tell you how I became successful. Your route to success is going to be different than mine, and you have people assigned to you. So I can't steal your people. No. I can't do that like Pastor Kahel. There are people that God literally has assigned to come to him to get their haircut. You know, that's his way of being open to ministry. Yours real estate. You showing somebody a house. God used that as an opportunity for you to minister. That's marketplace ministry. But you got to know what your assignment is. To be at the right place at the right time and not allow the enemy to get you out of alignment with that. The enemy would love to tell you, listen, you ain't called to real estate because you only sold one house this 1 month. When you got people that's in real estate and they sit up here selling 3-4 houses a week. But you only sold one month. Maybe this ain't for me. You know, maybe I need to look into a whole nother profession. No, if God said real estate, now the enemy wants to get you out of alignment with that assignment because he understands that's a marketplace anointing and you can impact more souls. You can impact more souls ministering to them while you're selling houses and sending them to the ministry. So the enemy will come to attack you in any way to get you out of alignment. Amen. So now Joshua commanded the people saying, you shall not shout, nor make a noise with your voice, nor shall a word proceed out of your mouth until the day I say to you, shout. Then you shall shout. So the ark of the Lord circled the city, going around it once. Then they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the covenant. The 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram horns before the ark of the Lord went on continually and blew the trumpet, and the armed men went before them. But the rear guard came after the ark of the Lord while the priests continued blowing the trumpet. And the second day they marched around the city once and returned to the camp. So they did 6 days. But it came to pass on the 7th day. Now this is when you would have found yourself questioning. That's why you had to keep your mouth closed, because you would have been questioning, wait a minute, why I got to go around it 7 times? Well, why I got to go around it and then on the 6th, stop on the 6th day, and then on the 7th day, now I got to march around it 7 times. Why I got to do all of this? I mean, if you be God, you understand what you could just blow